So what do you guys, do you have any minors or?
I won't have
Was
any
someone
minors.
sitting here?
I'm
Sorry.
just, I don't have any sense.
Okay.
I'm just getting the regular K-9. I'm looking to probably teach kindergarten first.
Cool. I taught kindergarten for 3 years. So bilingual kindergarten for 3 years, and then last year I had kindergarten and first grade in the same room.
Wow.
So it was a challenge in the same room.
Yeah.
It was hard, and it was poorly organized, and it wasn't. So I'll just kind of tell you like my journey, and then I have some artifacts for you guys to discuss. So I'm not just talking at you for half an hour. So I graduated in 09, and after that I got a job in like this daycare center, which I don't know if there was a session where they said like another person said like daycares are crazy, and yeah, it was a nightmare. But there was one day where the kids like were literally tipping over bookshelves and jumping from, because we had a lot of the kids that were kicked out of the other centers. So be very careful if you're going to teach preschool in a daycare. However, after that I thought I might leave education, but then I applied for a community action agency, and I got a job with Head Start. And I learned a lot. Head Start's really good, so if you can't get in right away, you can get in at Head Start. It doesn't pay super well, but the experience is very good. And I learned a lot, and then I actually got placed in the Forcente neighborhood, which I don't know if you know, but in Moline there's this area just actually right down the street. If you drive like a mile that way, you're going to drive through Florcente, which is a Spanish-speaking neighborhood. And my school was placed there, so all of the kids in my class spoke Spanish. So it wasn't a bilingual program. They didn't have a bilingual program, but I had I minored in Spanish, so it came in handy, and that's where I decided that that's what I wanted to do. So that I took the transitional bilingual test, which I strongly encourage you guys. Do either of you guys speak Spanish at all?
No.
Just like very,
I
very
learned a little in high school and learned a little here.
Well, even if you don't speak Spanish, like the likelihood that you're going to have children in your classroom that can speak another language is very high. So it'd be, you can learn the ESL side of this too, which I actually have. It's very helpful to learn some of the stuff you learn with ESL, even if you have a monolingual room. You learn a lot of strategies, and I actually have, this is Western's program, which Carla is awesome. She's an amazing professor, and I have her email, I can get you the but it just kind of describes the program for Western, and a lot of the programs are probably kind of similar, so you can get kind of an idea. About that. But I would say, I would encourage it, even if you do have a monolingual room, because you're probably going to have a lot of students that are from different countries and speak different languages. So, the first activity I'm going to give you guys, I'm just going to let you guys, I'll put them on here. These are artifacts of things that are used in bilingual and mono. When I say bilingual, I mean a classroom where English and Spanish are both used. Usually in the earlier grades, Spanish is used more because the whole world around us is mostly English. So, and Spanish is a native language so usually it's mostly Spanish in kindergarten. So they learn to read in Spanish first because that's what matches what they're hearing at home. And then they're going to be able to learn, once they learn, because think about like if you learn another language, when you go to learn another language, you said you learned some Spanish. You didn't have to learn how to like follow words from left to right when you went to learn Spanish, did you? Did you have to relearn that? No. So if you get those basic skills developed using Spanish, which is the language they're hearing at home, it's going to take less work for them to do that, and they're going to learn those basic skills like reading from left to right, that letters have sounds. Those connections are going to come a lot quicker if you use a language that's already familiar. They're not going to have to exert so much effort just because it's not a new language. So I'm just going to give you guys these, and I want you to talk. The questions are written on the front of most of them. What is it? And what do you think you'd use it in a monolingual classroom? In a monolingual classroom is a classroom where instruction is all in English, and it's geared towards developing literacy only in English and not developing their native language? Or do you think it's we use in a bilingual classroom where we're also trying to either develop those skills in their Spanish first to support later English development, or trying to develop the Spanish first to support later English development? So I'm just going to let you guys talk about them, and I'm going to step out of the situation.
That's interesting. Chocolate and chocolate latte spelled
So what are
the
they?
same.
Yeah.
What are
This, I guess, would be a suffix?
What's that word called?
So what are
They're
those groups of
spelled the
words
same, but
called?
they sound different.
Together they form a word.
No.
What type of word group?
It's not homophone. It's
Yes, good job.
What is it?
Why do you say word family?
Word families, because they're similar, so they're all each other.
So,
Cool.
so do you think word families would be used in English monolingual classroom?
Definitely in English.
And do you think that
I'm not sure if they use them in Spanish. I'm trying to think. Any of my Spanish words have like a word family, and I don't think they do.
Why do you say that?
Because I can't think of any.
Why do you think you might not use word families in Spanish?
Trying to think about how words are formed in Spanish. 'Cause they're probably formed differently.
Well,
than
isn't
how they're
our
formed in
English language is like weird?
It's crazy.
There's like so many
rules.
different rules and
There aren't any
exceptions
rules.
where I think Spanish is more kind of like structured, and like there's not a lot of sounds that can change.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I don't know. I just like
I'm not sure why I thought that, I guess. I just, based on thinking about Spanish words, like, I can't think of families of Spanish words. Like, you add the ES, you know, to things, but that's just like English. There's nothing like
So you guys want to place that? What do you think in the group? You guys want to place that one first? I don't know
I
if you guys want to do this one by
It's
one.
driving me nuts.
So we can put it
They're
in
spelled the same, but they sound
monolingual
different.
English,
What's that?
That's how it goes.
Is it?
both of them.
That's sounding the same. Homophones sound the same. These are spelled the same, not really. I should say. This one's close. This is
But these are different things. Isn't this like hot chocolate? Or like a drink?
I don't. Actually, they're both the same thing.
They are?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
And look at the colors too. Look at the colors on the cards. There's a hint.
Red Spanish. I know that. And blue is English. I do know
You would
that.
use this in a bilingual since there's both English and Spanish.
Yeah. And you could use it, or you wouldn't use it in a mono then because
Yeah.
you're only teaching English. So both, or bilingual.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the English is first. If it was bilingual, wouldn't the Spanish be first? Then it's supposed to be you're teaching them Spanish and then they learn English, right? Is that what I said?
Learn to read and write in Spanish, and then
First. So wouldn't it be
Right,
on
so I'm
top?
assuming that, well, they already know Spanish, which is why there's two, like,
I would guess bilingual.
That's
I
what I
don't think
thought.
it's both. Because you wouldn't use it in a monolingual because you're not using it in Spanish.
unless you use it just to teach your kids if you have more Spanish-speaking kids in your class. You could incorporate
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah. I'm just thinking in terms of.
So then it would be a bilingual.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking at. It's like, it's not a monolingual classroom if you're gonna incorporate Spanish, right?
yeah, because I'm on one classroom. It's just English.
It's just English, so that's bilingual. That's
I'm here thinking.
What am I? What'd you use? Oh, these are the, this is Spanish. This is the pre-thingies.
What do you think those are?
They're the, like, before, they're like, I know those. Like, it says who's talking, like, kind of thing.
Some of them them are, you're right,
Like
some of them are,
me
yeah,
and-
some of them are.
I don't know what the word is in low. And low. Oh, low. That's like if you add that at the end of the word to
Yeah.
mean male or female, right? And that changes the
Yep,
word.
yep, you're on the right track.
So this is bilingual. We would not use that.
You guys are doing awesome.
English. I know a little bit more Spanish than I thought. Evaluation of sonidos, sounds, probably of the letters. Well, I'd say bilingual, there's no English right here. Yeah, but they aren't like, yeah, there's the double L, 'cause that's Spanish.
And look at the date.
It's my birthday.
And then look at this one.
Yeah.
Same day.
So this is English, I guess. Because there isn't the double L, there isn't any extra span, like the little thing on the end.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
And
have
there's
that. So this is
some
this
letters
is
in the
both.
Spanish alphabet aren't necessarily.
So you'd use this in a bilingual, you'd use that in a monolingual. And if you use them together, it's fun.
So what do you think is the significance of the date?
It's the beginning of the year.
Are they both assessing the same thing?
Yeah, they're both assessing. Oh, letter naming. This is the names. Do they know that it's
So
A,
we both.
B, C? This is, I don't know if sonidos is names or sounds.
Sounds.
I'm guessing it's sounds,
Sounds,
so
yeah.
that's different, because that's like A, B, K. Not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So bilingual in this one,
Mm-hmm.
because it's Spanish. I don't think you'd use it in a mono. English. I would guess this is mono, because it's only English. Right? But the date's the same, so they're using it probably
In the same classroom.
in the
Did
classroom.
these both come from the same classroom?
Well, they're both highlighted.
So then, yeah, I would put them
I'm gonna
both.
put them together. Would this be both? Would they go to both categories? No, because it's mono. Don't use it. Circular language.
What do you think that might mean?
Linear language, okay.
Well, circular means all around.
So that's
So-
like bilingual, this is mono.
Yeah.
Okay, you do that. Oh crap, that's the wrong circle. That flew really far. I got you.
Oh.
That said, oh, sight words, yeah, that's mono. English sight words. I don't know, she left.
She has a
some.
presentation next year.
What did you say this was?
Oh, these are roots, that's mono. Or word families.
Okay. So now we're gonna
In the middle.
gather around the table.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine there's more people. But this is called a fishbowl, and you gather around. Have you guys learned about that in your classes? Fishbowl, where you gather around it. It's a sheltering strategy that if you do the ESL, you'll learn about different ways to shelter. Basically, it just means like, because it's really hard to learn a new language and kids get nervous and it's hard to participate, but if you do things like this, it helps make it's easier for them to participate. So, we kind of talked about some of these, but I kind of want to probe a little bit more of some of them. So linear language, like English is a lot more direct, but like, and you know, like a lot of their culture and the way that they talk, their oral language, the way they use their language is going to affect the way they write and things like that. So like in English, we would say like if you left a bag at your friend's house, you'd say, hey, my bag's at your house. But if, like in Spanish, someone that speaks Spanish or comes from that culture might say, you know, I was at your house and then I came home and then I realized I didn't have it. So they would like, I mean, we kind of do
Instead
that
of just
sometimes
getting
too,
to the
but
point,
yeah, but
they
it's part of their culture because it's kind of, so they kind of go in a circle and they write that way too. So when you're grading their writing in English, it helps to be kind of, and I need more professional development on that, but just to be aware of that so you're not penalizing them for the way their language is. So you were right with that though. And yeah, Spanish is much more circular. Let's see. Sight words, yes. Sight words is a monolingual. There are no sight words in Spanish. Why are there no sight words in Spanish, do you think?
Everything's based on like, I don't know, Spanish. I don't know, really think, because they're, I can't remember how the words are developed. But the sounds, oh, you say every sound. Sounds don't make weird things. And so in English, they say weird sounds and they don't make sense.
Yes, so you have to
So
know
there's
by
sight,
sight.
yes.
But in Spanish, there are no sight words. There are high frequency words, because it helps anybody to be able to read something quickly, even if you can sound it out. But they're not high frequency words, or they're not sight words in Spanish.
You just have to learn them by sight. Yes, because you say all the sounds in Spanish words.
Yeah, how would you sound out the?
Yeah, you don't. You have to teach them.
And if you want to probe a little deeper, why did you put this in bilingual?
Because you said that they, in a bilingual classroom, you're teaching Spanish, but then you're also teaching English as well. And so, because of the date, and then we thought they went together, we thought that maybe they were assessing both, because it's bilingual.
Your reasoning actually makes sense, and I think at a certain point in the year you would be doing both. But at the beginning of the year, for bilingual Spanish, you would not assess letter names yet, because the language is very phonemic. The letter sounds are naturally going to develop before their letter names. So you would assess letter sounds first. Like when we wouldn't even assess letter names till like second semester, because they're just going to develop later. It's just the way their language develops. But you would eventually, in a good program.
Yeah.
In some programs, like the first bilingual program I was in was amazing. I had amazing professionals about it. Last year, the program I was with was not. And but yeah, in a good program, you would assess their English too. I feel like in the programs that are dysfunctional, a lot of times the English gets put to the wayside a little bit in the earlier grades, because you do have more Spanish. But in a good program, they're going to have a way to keep track of the English too. And then we talked about those two. Do you guys have any more? Oh, did we miss one? What's this? Oh, this is important.
What's the E and the O?
So these are actually called syllables. And because the language is phonemic, like we talked about, syllables are really important, because if they can memorize the parts of the word, then they can read the words quicker. If they can just know that, like, let's see. Did I put a whole word in here? That would have been smart. Mommy. So if you can read ma and you can read me, then you can chunk them like you said. You can put them together and read mommy. So syllables. So usually when you're teaching bilingual in the lower grades, you'll teach the vowels first. And if you notice on this too, they knew all the vowels. Because at the beginning you teach the vowels first, because once they know the vowels, you're still teaching those sounds, but you go into the syllables. Which I actually learned from a parent. Your parents are really helpful, because I said, how did you learn it? And they told me that because at the beginning I was teaching all the sounds first. Like I would just go through all the sounds. And I would wait till they knew all the sounds, then I would teach them the syllables. Well, I was sitting down with a parent and I said, how did you learn how to read when you went to school in Mexico? And she said, well, we learned the vowels, but then after we learned the vowels, we went straight into the syllables. So they just learned to read them like a chunk. Me, ma, me, like a chunk, instead of waiting till they knew all the sounds before you introduced the syllables. And that helped a lot. My kids learned to read a lot quicker. But you really have to be concerned, because they do learn to decode quicker in Spanish, but you really have to put an emphasis on comprehension, because they'll learn to decode it quicker, which helps with the comprehension, but if they don't know what they're reading, it can be deceptive.
About another minute.
Okay. So I hope you guys learned something.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some visual phonics really quick? Visual phonics are amazing in 1 minute. We don't have time to do a lot, but really quick. And I'm going to do this. Luna, just do it.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Have you done these
Have you
before?
done Tucker? It's like, it's another form of it, but you like.
No,
It's like,
but
it's like when you have hand motions.
yeah, it's like that. But the thing is, what's cool about this is total physical response.